Boy, am I glad I had my mic off. Because I turned the lights off in my room and I immediately kicked a dumbbell that was on the floor. God damn, that was embarrassing. It really hurt too. I made a very embarrassing noise. I said, "Ah!" But now we're here. Good evening, everybody. Are you ready to get tucked into bed? Oh boy. Oh no, the piano's ending in the background. I hope the next video, the next music video that autoplays doesn't have an ad. Don't do that. Okay. No ads? Very nice. Whether you're tuning in live, or whether you're coming in later. I don't know what kind of creepers tune into these later and play them in their bed, but I'm sure there's at least 2 or 3 of you. Maybe even more. Maybe there's 10 of you out there, you creepy fucks, who come back to these recordings later and they fall asleep to them. In the past, I used to have a very overactive imagination. I still do, but it was so bad to the point that I couldn't contain any of it. By which I mean my thoughts started racing all the time, especially when I would be laying alone, silent in bed. It was especially bad between the ages of around 7 and 15. I didn't get very good sleep back then. But what I used to do is I used to put on tapes. I used to put on much louder things than this. I would put on gameplay audio of loud shooter games, or just people laughing, of skits and stuff like that. Or I would play rock albums and they would help me fall asleep. I don't know why, it just sort of grounded my thoughts. Nowadays, though, if I tried to put something like that on, it would excite me too much and I wouldn't be able to fall asleep at all. So things do change over time. I hope I'm balanced well enough, volume-wise. What kind of stuff do you guys listen to fall asleep? If you're sitting here, clearly you must listen to this, though some of you are just coming for different reasons. You're coming because you hoped I would say something very funny, or you came because you saw that I posted something. Either way, it's not important. I want to look like Kermit the Frog today. But I can't do that because... What does Gonzo look like? From the Muppets. Okay. He looks a little bit like this. Where'd it go? Gonzo. I just downloaded a picture of Gonzo. Where'd he go? It's not a WebP file, is it? There we are. Oh, fuck off. Damn it, no. Change that. Come on, you sassy cracker. Where the fuck are you? What the fuck? Where is it? Let's try this. Gonzo. Okay. Why is it? I'm looking on my images. It's not showing me Gonzo. What the fuck? Get the fuck out. Maybe I gotta delete this first. Where is Gonzo? Where is Gonzo? What the fuck? I just downloaded like 6 pictures of Gonzo and none of them are showing up in my downloads. I can see them, but they're not showing up on Streamlabs. What the fuck? Alright, that's it. Desperate times call for desperate measures. This is way easier. Hold on. Why didn't I just do this? There we go. Okay, now it is time to make me look like Gonzo today. I want to look like Gonzo. Oh, whoops. Looks like I gotta reframe this so that I can actually draw. Here we go. Okay, we draw around the ear. Just like that. Now we can start coloring. Gonzo is sort of this color, I think. Yeah, sort of like that. I don't know exactly what you'd call this color down here. I guess it's purple. Yeah, kinda. I like that to be a little darker, though. No, it's too dark. It's gotta be grayer. Perfect. Wonderful. And we'll make the red grayer, too. And then his eyes are yellow. Or his little eye laps. Nah. Oh, whoops. There we go. There we go. Doesn't that look like Gonzo? Don't I look like a fucking beauty? Did I do it right? I guess I gotta put little blue hairs like this. And then I gotta get Camilla the chicken. Where's the chicken? Just like this. The fuck? Oh my god. Oh, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck? What am I doing? What the fuck? There we go. That's better. Yeah, we gotta fix this. I'll fuck my screen up. We can get it back though. Check this out. Sometimes when you make a little mistake, it doesn't take that much readjusting to get it right. It can seem like it's a big mess. We gotta clean her up a little bit. Just like I'm gonna clean you up when I find you. I'm gonna stuff you into a bathtub. I'm gonna pour in some Epsom salts. Heat the water up to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that too hot? I think it is. I think that's the temperature that you like drink a tea at. There we go. Oh shit, no, Gonzo's face. There we go. There we go. Doesn't that look so much better? Don't I just look like a dream? So beautiful. Well, now that we're on the topic of the Muppets, I guess. There's a film, a Muppets movie that I want to see. I want to see The Muppets Most Wanted. I've never watched any of the newer Muppets movies. Actually, that's a lie. I have. I watched the 2011 one, but there was one that came out 3 years later in 2014. No relation to the other one. It featured Ricky Gervais, Tina Fey, the guy from Modern Family. Oh boy, what a star-studded cast. And I had heard for years that it was like the shittiest Muppets movie. But I think I just heard that from one person. Because apparently it's a good movie. And I listened to one of the songs from it and I said, God damn, when was this a fucking banger musical? Ricky Gervais says, I'm a failed pop star. He said he loved being able to sing in Muppets Most Wanted because he feels that he failed as a pop star. How did it do? The Muppets Most Wanted is a 2014 American musical heist comedy film. Oh, I love heists. And the 8th theatrical film featuring the Muppets, theatrical. Directed by James Bobbin and written by Bobbin and Nicholas Stoller, the film is a sequel to The Muppets, 2011, and star... Oh, it's a sequel, okay. Aside from co-writer Jason Segel, the majority of the production team behind The Muppets returned for Muppets Most Wanted, including Bobbin, Stoller, and producers David Hopeman and Todd Lieberman. The Muppets Most Wanted had its world premiere in the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles, March 11th, my bad, March 11th, 2014, and was released theatrically. Oh my goodness, the 9-year anniversary of Muppets Most Wanted is in just a few days, just three days away. Oh no, only 2 because we're a few hours away. The film was not as successful as its predecessor, grossing $80 million on a budget of $50 million. It received positive reviews from critics who praised its humor, music, and what the fuck? Don't you stop playing music. Get back in here. Okay, back to reading the Muppets Wikipedia page. Here, let's read the plot. Here we go. Directly after the previous film, the Muppets find themselves at a loss of what to do until a man named Dominic Badguy suggests the Muppets go on a European tour with him as their tour manager. Unbeknownst to the Muppets, criminal mastermind Constantine, who resembles Kermit, escapes from a Siberian gulag to join Dominic in a plot to steal the British crown jewels. In Berlin, Dominic secures the Muppets a show at a prestigious venue. Frustrated with the group's incessant requests and Miss Piggy's insistence they marry, Kermit takes a walk at Dominic's suggestion. Constantine ambushes him, glues a stick-on mold to Kermit's face, and slips away. Mistaken for Constantine, Kermit is arrested and sent to the gulag. Replacing Kermit, Constantine blunders in imitating him, but the other Muppets fall for his act, though Animal and Walter start to become suspicious. Who's Walter? Oh, Walter's the little kid guy from the last movie. After the Berlin show closes with Constantine freezing in front of the audience, Scooter has to take over. Constantine and Dominic steal paintings from a museum during the show. The next morning, Interpol agent Jean-Pierre Napoleon and CIA agent Sam Eagle grudgingly team up to apprehend the culprit whom Napoleon believes to be his nemesis, the Lemur, the number 2 criminal in the world. Meanwhile, Kermit attempts several escapes from the gulag, but is thwarted each time by Warden Nadia, who is as infatuated with him as Piggy is. Thus uncaring that the real Constantine is free, Nadia orders Kermit to help organize the Siberian Gulag Revue, the prisoners' annual talent show. Following hidden instructions on the stolen painting, Constantine and Dominic divert the tour to Madrid. Constantine allows the Muppets to perform whatever they wish. During the show, Constantine and Dominic break into a museum and destroy a room full of busts to find a key they needed for their plan. Even though the performance is a complete disaster, the Muppets somehow receive critical acclaim. Sam and Napoleon deduce that the connection between the crimes is the Muppets tour, and the pair interrogates the Muppets, only for Constantine to evade the pair and the other to be found too ill-equipped to be guilty. The instructions on the stolen key lead Constantine and Dominic to schedule the next show in order to rob the Bank of Ireland in Dublin. Ooh. In Dublin, Walter discovers that Dominic has been giving away tickets to the show and bribing critics to ensure a packed house with rave reviews. While Fozzie noticed Kermit's and Constantine's similarities, Constantine attacks Walter and Fozzie for their discoveries. But Animal stops him, and the three escape to rescue Kermit. During the performance, Dominic steals a locket from the bank, and Constantine proposes to Piggy on stage. Piggy accepts, and the pair plan a wedding ceremony to be held at the Tower of London, in London, where the crown jewels are kept. Fozzie, Walter, and Animal reach the Siberian Gulag on the night of the performance. And Kermit uses it as a front to allow them, himself, and the prisoners to escape the Gulag. Kermit, Fozzie, Walter, and Animal infiltrate Constantine's dressing room and overhear him explaining to Dominic that he plans to kill Piggy after they are married. Kermit and Fozzie are briefly detained by Sam, but escape as the wedding begins. And Dominic, with the help of Bobby Benson's baby band, manages to steal the jewels. Kermit interrupts the ceremony, revealing Constantine's ruse, and Piggy's ring is actually a bomb. It's then removed with Bunsen's magnetic bomb attractor vest, worn by Beaker. Constantine takes Piggy hostage and flees to a helicopter, where he is intercepted by Dominic, who is actually the lemur and intends to double-cross him. Then Constantine, after berating Dominic for bragging about the double-cross, ejects him from the helicopter and tries to take off with Piggy, but Kermit jumps aboard and the rest of the Muppets climb atop each other to stop the escape. Kermit and Piggy incapacitate Constantine, who is arrested by Dominic, by Sam and Napoleon. Nadia then arrives to recapture Kermit for escaping despite him being framed and innocent from the start, but Walter, Fozzie, Gonzo, Ralph, Scooter, and Piggy tell her that if she arrests him, then she'll have to take them as well. She relents, allowing Kermit to go free. The Muppets place their next venue at the Gulag in their finale. The cast is Ricky Gervais as Dominic Bad Guy, the world's second most wanted criminal and Constantine's accomplice. Ty Burrell as Jean-Pierre Napoleon, a French Interpol agent who works with Sam Eagle on finding Constantine. Tina Fey as Nadia, the high-ranking prison guard at Gulag 38B, who is obsessed with Kermit the Frog. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't thinking about Tina Fey. I imagined Nadia as like a Russian counterpart to Kermit, sort of like how there was the Kermit counterpart. Tony Bennett, Lady Gaga. Is Lady Gaga's in? Christopher Waltz appear as themselves. Tom Hiddleston, Ray Liotta, Josh Groban appear as Gulag inmates. Stanley Tucci plays Ivan, the Gulag Watchtower guard. James McAvoy, Chloe Grace Martez, Miranda Richardson, Russell Tovey, Mackenzie Crook, Toby Jones, Rob Cordy, Hugh Boneville, Sean Diddy Combs, otherwise known as P. Diddy, Celine Dion, Zach Galifianakis, Ross Lynch, and Usher also appear in minor cameos. Some actors filmed scenes that were cut from the theatrical release but were later restored in the DVD releases. These actors include Bridget Mendier, Debbie Ryan, Peter Serafinowicz, and Tyrell Jackson Williams. Wow. They got an average of 6.7 out of 10. I hope it's a better movie than that, because I actually kind of want to watch it. I haven't watched any Muppets movies in a while, but I have been listening to Muppets music. Oh boy, I do love me some Muppet songs. They're usually pretty catchy, and I mostly judge Muppet movies based on how good the songs are. Which is why, even though just looking at the plot of the Muppets 2011, it's not the best. It's quite good. But the songs are, holy God. Am I a man? Am I a Muppet? I'm a Muppet of a man. I'm a very manly Muppet. How about we take a deep breath? I remember the first time I watched The Muppets 2011. It wasn't in theaters. Actually, no, I think the first time I watched it was in theaters, but the second time I watched it, I was hanging out with one of my friends, and in the middle of the movie he fell asleep, so I put popcorn on his head. There was no point to that story at all, but... And then there was another time that I was in a show. I was in a talent show. And for my act, I performed Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet? And I will tell you this. I did make out. I was the man, and my partner was the Muppet. I did make out with the Muppet, yes. Some of you have been wondering. The rumors have been flying around for years. Yes, I did have sexual relations with that Muppet. Here, we need Bill Clinton to come on here. Yes, I did have sexual relations with that Muppet. Here, what is the, I need to abbreviate this script. No, I don't want the Family Guy version. What the my fellow I schmoigity? No, I do not want that. No. Here, do you guys want to listen to Bill Clinton's apology? Shut up, Michaels. You interrupted my stream yesterday too. What is it with you, Michaels? I'm never going to your craft store again. Yes, Michael smells objectively kind of nice. Okay, sue me. I like how Michael smells. Not all of it. I like some sections. I don't like the candle sections.
I agree with those.
It smells too waxy.
That in my first statement after I testified, I was not contrite enough. I don't think there is a fancy way to say that I have sinned. It is important to me that everybody who has been hurt know that the sorrow I feel is genuine.
Yes, it is.
First and most important, my family. Also, my friends, my staff, my cabinet, Monica Lewinsky and her family, and the American people. I have asked all for their forgiveness. But I believe that to be forgiven, more than sorrow is required. At least two more things. First, genuine repentance.
Wow.
A determination to change and to repair breaches of my own making.
All right, we're done with Bill Clinton now. Back to the other. Turn the music back on. Wow. Wasn't that riveting? Fine, I'm gonna come clean. I thought that the Family Guy version of the Bill Clinton apology was a parody or an abbreviation of what the apology actually was. That was kind of lame as an apology. If he had actually said, "My fellow Americans, I have not been entirely truthful with you," That would have been cool. I just saw the viewer count drop. I saw like 5 viewers that it went to 1 when I started talking about Bill Clinton. And it just went to 0 on my phone. I think it's a glitch, though. I've never been able to consistently track how many people came in here. Yeah, I don't know if listening to Bill Clinton's apology is exactly my idea of relaxing. But it might be yours, and that's why you're here on the Mr. Keating Show, because you never know what's going to put you to sleep. Will it be what I'm saying, or will it be the fact that I'm not saying anything important at all? Who wrote the musical score? Christoph Beck. What else did he write? Wow, it seems like he really started like... Oh no, that's just awards. Okay, this is the guy. Brett McKenzie is a New Zealand musician and comedian. He was the run, and he was not the run, he was the one who wrote Manor Muppet. Beautiful. Flight of the Conchords? Never heard of that. Is that something I should have heard of? You know, it baffles me that I haven't actually thought to look up any actual bedtime stories. I've just been reading inane bullshit like fan fictions, web peas, Wikipedia pages, my internal thoughts, but I haven't actually looked up any bedtime stories. So I think for the first time tonight, I am going to look up a bedtime story. Alright, I'm going to look at these titles till I see something that I like. A Dead Woman's Secret? No, that doesn't sound like it would. The Romance of a Busy Broker? The Child's Story? A Telltale Heart? What You Want? The Log? The Colonel's Ideas? The Hand? The Lick Penny Lover? Yeah, it's got to be the Lick Penny Lover, okay. Here we go. The Lick Penny Lover. By O. Henry. There were 3,000 girls in the biggest store. Maisie was one of Massel. That's Massel. Massel was one of them. She was 18 and a sales lady at the gents' gloves. Here she became versed in 2 varieties of human beings. The kind of gents who buy their gloves in department stores and the kind of women who buy gloves for unfortunate gents. Besides this whole knowledge of the human species, Massel had acquired other information. She had listened to the promulgated wisdom of the other 2,999 other girls, and had stored it in a brain that was as secretive and wary of that as a Maltese cat. Perhaps nature, foreseeing that she would lack wise counselors, had mingled the saving ingredient of shrewdness along with her beauty, as she had endowed the silver fox of the priceless fur above the other animals was cunning. For Massel was beautiful. She was a deep-tinted blonde with the calm poise of a lady who cooks butter cakes in a window. She stood behind her counter in the biggest store, and as you closed your band over the tape line for your glove, she measured you, thought of heap, and as you looked again, you wondered how she had come by Minerva's eyes. When the floor walker was not looking, Maisel chewed tutti frutti. When he was looking, she gazed up, as if the clouds had smiled wistfully. That is the shopgirl smile, and I enjoin you to shun it unless you are well fortified with callousy of heart, caramels, and a congeniality for the capers of Cupid. This smile belonged to Maisel's recreation hours, and not to the store, but the floor walker must have his own. He is the Shylock of the stores. When becomes nosing around the bridge of his nose is a toll bridge. It is goo-goo eyes or git when be looks towards a pretty girl. Of course, not all floor walkers are thus, and only a few days ago the papers printed news of one over 80 years of age. One day, Irving Carter, a painter, a millionaire, a traveler, a poet, automobilist, happened to enter the big store. It is due to him to add that his visit was not voluntarily. Filial duty took him by the collar and dragged him inside, while his mother philandered among the bronze and terracotta statues. Carter strolled across to the glove counter in order to shoot a few minutes on the wing. His need for gloves was genuine. He had forgotten to bring a pair with him. But his action hardly calls for apology, because he had never heard of a glove counter flirtations. As he neared the vicinity of his fate, he hesitated, suddenly conscious of this unknown phase of Cupid's less worthy profession. 3 or 4 cheap fellows, sonorously garbed, were leaning over the counters, wrestling with their mediatorial hand coverings, while giggling girls played vivacious seconds to their lead upon the strident string of coquetry. Carter would have retreated, but he had already gone too far. Maisel confronted him behind her counter with a questioning look in her eyes, as coldly, beautifully, warmly blue as the glint of summer sunshine on an iceberg drifting in the southern seas. And then Irving Carter, the painter, millionaire, etc., felt a warm flush rise to his aristocratically pale face. But not from diffidence. The blush was intellectual in origin. He knew in a moment that he had stood in the ranks of the ready-made youths who wooed the giggling girls at other counters. Himself he leaned against the oaken trysting, place of a cockney cupid with a desire in his heart for the favor of a glove salesgirl. He was no more than Bill and Jack and Mickey, but then he felt a sudden tolerance for them, and an elating, courageous contempt for the conventions upon which he had fed, and an unhesitating determination to have this perfect creature for his own. When the gloves were paid for and wrapped in the Carter, there's no punctuation there. Carter lingered for a moment. The dimples at the corner of Maisie's damask mouth deepened. I think that's damask. It's an uncommon word. All gentlemen who bought gloves lingered in just that way. She curved an arm, showing like Psyche's through her shirt waist sleeve, and rested an elbow upon the showcase edge. Carter had never before encountered a situation of which he had not been a perfect master, but now he stood far more awkward than Bill or Jack or Mickey. He had no chance of meeting this beautiful girl socially. His mind struggled to recall the natures and habits of shopgirls that he had read or seen or thought of, and somehow he had received the idea that they did not insist too strictly upon the regular channels of introduction. His heart was beating loudly at the thought of proposing any unconventional meeting with this lady, and virginal beating. But the tumult of his heart gave him courage. After a few friendly and well-received remarks on general subjects, he laid his card by her hand on the counter. "Will you please pardon me," he said, "if I seem too bold, but I earnestly hope that you will allow me the pleasure of seeing you again. There is my name. I assure you that it is with the greatest respect that I ask the favor of becoming one of your acquaintances. May I not hope for the privilege?" Maisie knew men, especially men who buy gloves. Without hesitation, she looked him frankly and smilingly in the eyes, and said, "Sure, I guess you're all right. I don't usually go out with strange gentlemen, though. It ain't quite ladylike. So, What should you want to see? When should you want to see me again? As soon as I may, said Carter. If you would allow me to call your home, Maisley laughed musically. Oh, gee, no, she said emphatically. If you could see your flat once. There's 5 of us in 3 rooms. Oh, our flat. If you could see our flat once, there's 5 of us in 3 rooms. I'd just like to see Ma's face if I was to bring a gentleman friend there. Anywhere, then, said the enamored Carter. Anywhere that will be convenient to you. Say, suggested Maisie, with a bright look in her peach-blow face. I guess Thursday night will about suit me. Suppose you come to the corner of 8th Avenue and 48th Street at 7:30. I live right near the corner, but I've got to be back home by 11. Ma never lets me stay out after 11. Carter promised gratefully to keep the tryst, and then he hastened to his own mother, who was looking about for him, to ratify her purchase. A salesgirl with small eyes and an obtuse nose strolled near Maisie with a friendly leer. Did you make a hit with the knobs, Maze? She asked familiarly. The gentleman asked permission to call, answered Maisie, with a grand air, as she slipped Carter's card into the bosom of her waist. Permission to call? Echoed Small Eyes with a snicker. Did he say anything about dinner in the Waldorf and a spin in his auto afterwards? Oh, stuff it, said Maisie. You've been used to swell things, I don't think. You had a swell beat ever since that hose cart driver took you out to a chop suey joint. No, he never mentioned the Waldorf, but there is a 5th Avenue address on his card. And if he buys you supper, then you can bet your life there's not going to be no pigtail on the waiter when he takes the order. As Carter glided away from the biggest store with his mother and his electrical runabout, he bit his lip with a dull pain in his heart. He knew that love had come to him for the first time in all 29 years of his life, and that the object of it should make so readily an appointment with him at a street corner, though it was a step towards his desires, tortured him with misgivings. Carter did not know this shop girl. He did not know that her home is often either a scarcely habitable place, a tiny room, or a domicile filled to the brim, overflowing with kith and kin. The street corner is her parlor, and the park is her drawing room. The avenue is her garden walk, and yet, for the most part, she is an involatile mistress of herself, and them is my lady inside her tapestried chamber. One evening at dusk, 2 weeks after their first meeting, Carter and Maisie strolled arm in arm into a little, dimly lit park, and they found a bench, tree-shadowed and secluded. They both sat down. For the first time, his arms stole gently around her. Her golden bronze head slid restfully against his shoulder. Maisie sighed, thankfully. Why didn't you ever think of that before? Maisie, said Carter earnestly, you surely know that I love you, and I sincerely ask you to marry me. You know me well enough by this time to have no doubts of me. I want you, and I must have you. I care nothing for the difference in our stations. 2 weeks, the fuck? What is the difference? Asked Maisie, curiously. Well, there isn't any, said Carter quickly, except in the minds of foolish people. It's in my power to give you a life of luxury. My social position is beyond dispute, and my means are ample. They all say that, remarked Maisie. It's the kid that they all give you. I suppose you really work for the Ugh. What is that? I've never seen this. Delicatessen? Delicatessen? Okay, I should note, the I's and the L's on this website look very similar to each other. There's no recognizable difference. I ain't as green as I look. I can furnish you all the proofs you want, said Carter, gently. Then, and I want you, Maisie. I loved you the first day I saw you. They all do, said Maisie with an amused laugh. They all do. To hear them talk. If I could meet a man that got stuck on me the 3rd time he'd seen me, I think I'd get mashed on him. Please don't say such things, pleaded Carter. Listen to me, my dear. Ever since I looked into your eyes, you've been the only woman in the world for me. Oh, Ain't you the kidder, smiled Maisie. How many other girls did you tell that to, But Carter persisted, and at length he reached the flimsy, fluttering little soul of the shop girl that existed somewhere deep in her lovely bosom. His kind words penetrated the heart whose very lightness was its safest armor. Safest armor. She looked up at him with eyes and saw. They saw. She saw, and a warm glow visited her cool cheeks, tremblingly, awfully. Her moth wings closed, and she seemed about to settle upon the flower of love. Some faint glimmer of life and its possibilities on the other side of her glove counter dawned upon her. Carter felt the change, and he crowded this opportunity. "Marry me, Maisie," he whispered softly, "and we will go away from this ugly city to beautiful ones. We can forget work and business, and life can be one long holiday. I know where I should take you. I've been there very often. Just think, will you? A shore where summer is eternal, where the waves are always ripping, crashing on a lovely beach, and the people are happy and free as children. We will sail to those shores, and we will remain there as long as you please, in one of those far-off cities. One where there's grand and lovely palaces, towers full of beautiful pictures and statues. The streets of the city of the water, the one that travels in..." "I know," said Maisie, sitting up suddenly. "Gondolas." "Yes," smiled Carter. "I thought so," said Maisie. "And then," continued Carter, "we will travel on and see whatever we wish in the world. After the European cities, we can visit India, and the ancient cities there we can ride on elephants and go to the temples of the Hindus and the Brahims, and the Japanese gardens and the camel trains and the chariot races, and all the queer sights of foreign countries. Don't you think you would like it, Maisie? Wouldn't you just love it?" Maisie rose to her feet. "I think we had better be going home," she said, coolly. "It's getting late." Carter humored her. He had come to know her varying thistledown moods, and that it was useless to combat them, but he felt a certain happy triumph. He had held, for a moment, though but by a silken thread, the soul of his dear wild Psyche, and hope was stronger within him. Once she had folded and closed her wings, and her cool hand had closed about his own. At the biggest store the next day, Maisie's chum, Lulu, waylaid her in an angle at the counter. "How are you and your swell friend making it?" she asked. "Oh, him?" said Maisie, patting her side curls. "He ain't in it anymore. Say, Lou, what do you think that fellow wanted me to do?" "Go on the stage?" guessed Lulu breathlessly. "Nit. He's too cheap a guy for that. He wanted me to marry him and go down to Coney Island for a wedding tour." The end. Hooray! Did you like that story? Did it make you feel all nice and warm and fuzzy inside? I do hope so. Sort of an interesting love affair. And what stories will we read tomorrow? I did like that. I think I'll read more short stories like that. It was kind of fun, and it's good practice for me anyways. Well, that'll be enough stories for tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Whether you're coming in live, whether you're back later for more, thank you. Thank you. Good night.